on. We're live. Welcome to Seize Your Mind, the podcast about soccer, mental toughness, and life. I'm your host, Brandon Stone. Today's guest is Chris Kaag. He is the owner and president of the I Am Life Foundation. Chris, how are you?
Doing well, man. How you doing?
Good, good. Thank you so much for being on here. My guests are really going to love hearing your story. I already know it because I loved it, and I feel like we vibe pretty well. Just a little intro for who's listening. So an old friend of mine from when I used to work back on the beach in Ocean City, Maryland, back in 2003, 2004, Nico Speltz, he put me in touch with Chris just, a week ago, and saw we had kind of similar stories and attitudes and, outlooks on life. And so that's how I got introduced to Chris. Tell me about yourself, Chris.
Beginning of my life was fairly normal. Was born down in Cherry Point, North Carolina, to a dad who was a Marine as well, and then lived a normal childhood, bumps and bruises. Skateboarded, bike, did all the crazy stuff that kids do.
Siblings?
What's that?
Siblings?
I do. I have 6 siblings. I have 3 brothers and 3 sisters.
Where did you rank in terms of age?
I was the oldest.
You're the oldest. Okay.
Yep.
So keep going.
So just a normal childhood, and had a lot of growing up to do. Didn't really realize what I was gonna face later on. So I really wish I could have had somebody kind of prepare me for that. But I think with anything, you're not prepared for it. So,
right.
When I was a kid, I played football ever since I was probably about 8 years old, and then went through high school. And unfortunately, this was back in the 90s. So football, the science of getting stronger and bigger and faster and all that stuff was not that great. So I was just basically a fat, overweight, lazy 17-year-old kid, and played football in high school out in Canton, Ohio, which is like the pinnacle of football. And then when I graduated from high school, I went to Marine Corps boot camp in Paris Island, South Carolina, so I could follow in the footsteps of my dad, my grandfather, and my uncle. And after my brother followed suit with me as well.
So long history of military.
Yep.
Cool. So what was boot camp like for you?
Boot camp sucked. Just like anybody can imagine. Unfortunately, I didn't prepare myself very well before I left. So I think I got on a weight waiver. So I came in probably about 215. And when I got to boot camp, my life was over. Just like any Marine can attest to, as soon as you step on those yellow footprints and get off that bus, you are not sure what the hell you just did and why you did it. But for me, those 3 months of boot camp, I lost almost 50 pounds, got out about 180 pounds, and just with a whole different perspective on what I was able to accomplish. So, for me, I look at it now, the Marine Corps is what saved my life. It gave me the ability to overcome pretty much any challenge. And I really thank and give credit to my drill instructors for instilling that discipline in me.
Tell me more about how I don't know what goes on really in boot camp. I mean, you see some stuff in movies and stuff, but give me some stories, some anecdotal stories, or what all went down there, and how did they drill that mindset into you?
So everybody down there for the most part is all young kids. I was 17 years old. My dad had to sign the papers for me to get sworn in, and everybody's just a bunch of kids. So I really didn't realize how much of an impact that was having. But if you've ever seen the movie Full Metal Jacket, boot camp is very much like that. It's just freaking crazy. It's definitely designed to be a disorienting place that you are broken down, and then they rebuild you back up. So when I first started doing the physical stuff, again, I was a fat 215-pound guy. So PT sucked for me. Getting out there and running and doing everything. But I'm very proud of the fact that I never dropped out of a damn thing. Never dropped out of any challenge. And really, the reason I didn't is because I started to think about my teammates. that's something that the Marine Corps really instills in you. You think about your team before you think about yourself. So, I would suffer, I would do all the things I need to do, but I did it because I didn't want my teammates to have to pay for me quitting on myself.
So what kind of like consequences would there be if like to the team, like
all kinds of stupid stuff. I mean, they could make you do, I'll just give a general example, just make you run another mile, run another 2 miles, do another, 100 push-ups.
But everyone in your team would have to.
Exactly. Yep. And that's something that is instilled in you, that it's not an individual effort, it's a team effort. So there's obviously guys that shine, that are very, very in shape. They're awesome. I mean, I had a lot of guys in my platoon that were really, there for the challenge. But for somebody like me, I was not. So my teammates helped me out and they encouraged me, and I did it right back to them to just make sure we all started and finished as a team.
You said they broke you down. Do you remember, like, was there like that straw on the camel's back that you were like, oh, I can't no more, but then they lift you back up? Was there ever a moment like that?
Well, I have one moment that really I didn't start to realize until I was about 24, 25 years old when I started having the problems that I face now. But it really was the defining moment of my life. And this was, I was 18 years old finally, and we were out for a 4.5 mile run. And this was after our last PFT. PFT is a physical fitness test, and you run 3 miles, and they teamed us up into platoons based on our speed. So I believe I ran 20 minutes and 30 seconds or 21:30. So I was teamed up, and out of 10 platoons, we were second to last. And I was teamed up with my drill instructor, Sergeant Hart, which that's somebody who I'll talk about a lot because I really give him a lot of credit for a lot. But that day we went out. He was a Force Recon Marine, so he was pretty much a badass Marine. And we went out there. We started calling cadence, and which was a good steady pace. And then probably about a mile and a half into it, he yelled, "Kaag, we're done. Pick it up." So we just started pretty much sprinting. And little did I know that he basically wanted to pass all the other drill instructors so that he could talk shit and tell everybody that he beat them. But it wasn't until the last probably 3/4 of a mile to a mile, I was really starting to feel it. And we had dropped probably about 3 or 4 guys out of our platoon, and he yelled out 5 words that I, to be honest, never expected a drill instructor would say, because drill instructors aren't very encouraging. They don't say a lot of positive things to you. But he basically yelled out, "Don't quit on me, Kaag." And that was something that, really just put a fire on my ass and kept me going. So, ran the rest of the way. And then as soon as I crossed the finish line, I collapsed. I mean, I had shin splints because I was still kind of a bigger guy. So I had shin splints and I collapsed. But at the same time, I never finished. Or I'm sorry, I never quit.
Never quit.
Yep. And it was one of those things that, again, it wasn't until later on that I realized that moment right there is what really defined who I am and what I'm able to do.
So do you feel like that kind of just made you look inside and find this like extra gas tank of energy? Like,
yeah, I really took it upon myself to never quit. I mean, no matter how much it sucked, and believe me, there was plenty of times where it sucked, and didn't think I was going to be honest, that day, I remember tears coming down my face. I mean, I was starting to really like freaking just start to break down because I didn't think I was going to freaking make it. But again, there's a quote, quitting lasts or what the hell, pain is temporary, quitting lasts forever. That's something that was very, very big on me. I really didn't want to stand out. I didn't want to be that quitter, because you know what? The guys that quit, they got made examples of. They got destroyed. They really, had a tough time after that was done. So I wanted to avoid that. So I just, would suck it up and, keep moving forward.
Awesome. So walk me through then after base camp, or what do you call it? Boot camp. Sorry. Yep. Then what did you do next after that?
So I went to the Fleet Marine Corps, and then went over. So I was all over the country for school and doing my MOS, and then got stationed over in Aviano, Italy, back during Bosnia. This was back in '96, And I was on my second tour over there, and I went out for a run with a friend of mine to get ready for our next physical fitness test that was coming up, and just felt weird. Really didn't know what the heck was going on with my legs. I felt like weakness in my hip flexors, and I started to drag my feet. So again, I was 18, 19 years old, so I really didn't think anything of it. I thought it was just something that I had done from another run or something. So I really didn't think much of it. But finally, I had our physical fitness test, and my run time went from 21 or 20 minutes to 26 minutes. So when that happened, I kind of knew something was up. So I went to the corpsman, and the corpsman basically said I had foot drop. So it was basically BS, and I kind of knew it because after 6 weeks, nothing had changed. Actually, it had gotten a little bit worse. And then I went back and saw another doctor, and then he took it a little bit more serious, and he sent me back to the States, where I spent 9 weeks at Walter Reed Hospital in DC. And unfortunately, in February of 1998, I was diagnosed with adrenomyeloneuropathy. So it's not a sexy story. Didn't get shot at or jump on a grenade or anything, but I was 21 years old, and I had something that was going to end my Marine Corps career and was going to change my life.
So when you first got that news, do you remember that moment?
Yep. Yeah, I was my doc kind of pulled me in the hallway and just sat me down and said, we have the diagnosis. And to be honest, I've been asked this numerous times. It wasn't like I was pissed. It wasn't like I just, freaking lost my mind or was depressed or, freaking broke down. I simply was kind of relieved to know what the hell it was. Because for 8-9 weeks, I was starting to have, problems. Like I couldn't run. I could still walk fine, but I could definitely feel differences in my body. So I had no idea what the hell was going on. So when somebody actually told me what my diagnosis was, I was a little bit relieved. Little did I know, what was in store, for the next, 5 years.
Yeah, that's not something that's very common. So I'm sure you didn't really even know exactly what that meant.
Yep. Yeah, they had talked and said, you could be in a wheelchair in 5 years. And again, I'm 19 years old, or 21 years old. I'm walking around. Nothing is really, bothering me. So I really didn't think anything of it. I remember going down and getting my gear from base and, seeing my friends and just basically saying my goodbyes when I left. And, I told them that I might be in a wheelchair in 5 years. I really didn't believe it. But unfortunately, it actually happened in 5 years exactly. I ended up in a chair.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Explain some more of what exactly the disease does to your body, the medical side for the layman, so like a person like me can understand.
Oh, believe me, that's the only way I can explain it. So it's a demyelinating disorder. So myelin is what surrounds your nerves, and my body does not break down long chain fatty acids. So it starts to break down the myelin sheath, and then it starts to interfere with the signals coming from your brain down to your legs. So when I came back to Pennsylvania, when I was my Marine Corps career was done, I came back and started to trip a lot. I started to when I would close my eyes, I would lose my balance, or I remember being in the shower and close my eyes to wash my hair and just fall the hell out because I couldn't keep my balance anymore, with keeping my eyes closed. So again, those are the things that I started to face. Again, here I am, 21 years old, just got out of the Marine Corps. That's all I wanted to do was be a Marine. And now I had to come back and figure out what it is that I needed to do. And then at the same time, I had to, face these, big challenges because I was a cocky 21-year-old Marine. I could do everything. And this, unfortunately, was taking away my abilities to do a lot of things. So I started to trip over my feet, started to lose my balance, started to have, some problems. So I started to use the cane. I would use crutches sometimes to be able to get around a little bit farther and faster. And then, started using 2 canes. And then within 5 years, I got my first chair. And, that experience, so, for your situation, you were in an accident, and your life was changed instantaneously.
Right.
I always look at the things that I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for I had this opportunity to kind of adjust to each phase. I started to walk with a cane. then 2 canes. Yeah, it sucked. I definitely, I'm a pretty confident guy, and, didn't really think that it would bother me that much. But I mean, I would definitely catch myself not walking in front of people because I know that they were going to see my legs and they were going to see me trip, or they were going to see me struggle to take steps. So I really had a hard time accepting that. But I really thought about my family. I have 6 brothers and sisters. I had dad, mom, stepmom, everybody who cared about me. And now that I'm older and my 2 younger brothers had the same condition as me, so I know exactly what my family went through. To be able to see their son, their nephew, brother, that just have these problems and have challenges. And if I was pissed off and depressed, that would destroy my family. And now that I'm able to see it, I know exactly what my family went through. So I'm glad I was very fortunate enough to have the attitude that I had to be able to look at my condition and just, kind of just smile about it. And, that's something that I think, again, the Marine Corps is what, gave me that ability to improvise, adapt, overcome. And I really, thought about my family instead of myself. I would deal with my challenges kind of like in private and, not let my family, because I didn't want them to have to suffer.
So it really has a lot to do with who you see yourself as a person. You're the type of person who is looking out for other people, is caring about other people, and not always, looking at yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where I'm at now. And when I go out and speak, I tell people all the time, I really have, really set out to serve others. And that serving, I'm still a Marine. I'm just not wearing the uniform, but I'm still serving other people. I try to help as many people as I can. I get so much enjoyment out of helping as many people as I can, because you know what? It makes me forget about my, challenges. Every single day I wake up, if I have challenges, if I bust my ass, if I fall out of my chair or something, you know what? I have 10 minutes to get to the gym because there's 30 people that are waiting there for Chris Kaag to come in and motivate them and inspire them and all that stuff. So I don't have time to sit in there and wallow in my sorrows and bitch and moan. I basically have to wipe the blood off, wipe the dirt off, get up and get over there. And that's something that I really feel has been the saving, thing for me to be able to dedicate myself to everybody else.
And I feel like, I know for me at least, it kind of makes the pain you had to go through worth it, being able to use that to help other people.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And so I would give anything in this world to have my legs back. But you know what? I really think that this was a blessing in disguise. I don't think that I'd be doing the things that I'm doing. I don't think I'd be able to inspire and, motivate and, care about so many people if I didn't have this condition. So I think I'm a totally different person. And I think I'm living such a more fulfilling life and something that has so much purpose. So I'm the happiest SOB you're ever going to meet.
Tell me more about what you are doing now.
So when I got out of the Marine Corps, I went back to Penn State and got my business degree. And then after that, I tried to find somebody who was going to hire me. But unfortunately, that didn't happen very fast. So I decided to hire myself. So I started to, I was working at a gym and, just started to train people at night and, sort of doing like military style calisthenics and, all kinds of other stuff that we did in the Marine Corps, and just kind of got the idea, I think I could do something like this. So I started Core Fitness. So back in 2004, my dad, he was the one who termed this title. And as soon as he said it, I knew that was it. And it's been going on since 2004. So we're actually just getting ready to close out our 16th year. So I started out of the back of my truck in a local parks around my area. And I just got people out and just try to motivate them and redefine what they're able to accomplish. So
paint the picture for me of that first time you did it, like from a chair, like, because you can't go and show them how to do a jumping jack or like,
yeah,
how would that process work?
Well, to be honest, I wasn't in a chair then. I was walking with 2 canes then.
Okay.
But my younger brother Patrick, he was my legs. So I would get him at 04 in the morning and say, "Get up, we got to go teach class." So I would go out and teach class, and he would set everything up, and he would help me to demonstrate. So he was basically like my legs. Now I've been doing this for 16 years, so now I can explain anything without actually having to show anybody. They know what I'm talking about. But when we first started, it was great to have my brother. He was definitely like my right-hand guy who demonstrated everything. And, being out in local parks, it doesn't matter if it was raining, didn't matter if it was hot, didn't matter if it was cold, everybody was outside, because I wanted to make sure that they understood that, Marines, we don't get a chance to choose what day we're going to go out if it's not nice out. If it's crappy outside, we're all still outside.
Nice. So you've been doing that for 16 years, and then did that like transform into the foundation you're doing, or is it kind of like going tandem?
No. So 2004 was a very busy year for me. So I graduated college in May. The week after I graduated, I started a triathlon called Got the Nerve. And I basically wanted to raise money for nerve damage research to hopefully get me walking again. So the first year we had 386 people, raised $15,000, and then, started to, continue to expand. And,
were you in a race chair, or?
No, I didn't do it.
You didn't do it. You put it on.
I was the race director.
Okay.
So I had to babysit, thousands of people. So that went on for 3 years. And after 3 years, I got tired of sending money away where I really had no idea what it was doing. And I realized, how expensive it is for people to be disabled, to be able to go out and be active. A hand cycle costs anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000. So in 2007 is when I started my I Am Able Foundation. And then now my races and all the things that I do to raise money all goes to provide support for my foundation.
So you still do races to this day?
Yeah, actually we, in May, we would have celebrated our 17th annual, but unfortunately it was canceled because of COVID.
Was Nikos going to be in that?
Nikos was in it before. I'm not sure if he was in it this year, but there was actually a picture of him finishing with his three-legged dog.
I've met that dog.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Cool. So tell me more about the foundation. How do you go about raising money for it? How do you spread awareness about it?
Yeah. So, for my condition, my doctor that I saw, he was down at Kennedy Krieger down in Baltimore, Maryland, and it was a children's hospital. So, here I am, a 21-year-old Marine. I was still walking. I would walk in there for my appointments, and I would see these kids, kids with breathing tubes and feeding tubes and, confined to chairs and beds. And that really made a really big impact on me. So, I started the foundation because I wanted to provide kids a quote unquote normal childhood, get them out on a bike, let them go out with their friends. Just like I grew up, I was very fortunate to have a great childhood, and I wanted to give these kids that same opportunity. So, the first child that we gave a bike to, his name was Jordan. He was 5 years old. And, I had spoken at a elementary school. So I invited probably about 30 third graders because they had to help raise some money to be able to help support this bike. So we brought them out, and they all brought their bikes out, so that when we gave Jordan his bike, he could see that, yeah, he was riding a different bike and he probably felt different. Well, all these kids were going to go out and they were going to ride a bike with him just like everybody else. So it was a very, very, proud time that we were able to give this kid that opportunity to realize that, what, he's different, but
He's the same.
You can still do the same thing everybody else is doing.
Was it like a wheeled bike, or?
Yeah, it was a hand cycle.
A hand cycle.
So, Jordan was his name, and now he's, I think, like 15. Kid's a freaking stud. He plays wheelchair basketball, and he's out there still, being as active as possible. So I'm really glad we were able to give him that opportunity when he was 5 years old, so that he could really redefine what's possible.
That's awesome. You stay in touch with him.
Yeah. So now the foundation, again, we have events that we do. We have 3 events now throughout the year, and then we just have corporate sponsors or individual donors, and it's great for us to be able to see or show people the effects that we have on so many people. So there's thousands of worthwhile causes, and I commend everybody for all the great things that people do and organizations do. But with my foundation, I want people to be emotionally attached to what we do. So every event that we do, we provide an adaptive equipment grant, or we provide something that showcases to everybody that, yeah, I sponsored this event. I paid the money to compete in this triathlon. I supported this event somehow. Those monies are definitely being used by that person right there. so that they could actually go meet that, individual, and they could, really see what their money, accomplished. I'm very proud to see that.
That's cool. So it's really tangible and really real.
Right.
It's not just they're sending money off to some doctor's office in the middle of who knows what and doing who knows what with.
Yep. They see exactly where that money's going, and we don't, it's not like I'm putting rims on my Bentley or anything. I'm not spending money like crazy. Like, we're actually spending the money to be able to help as many people as possible, because that's the mission that I, put out for I Am Able.
That's cool. How did you learn? I mean, obviously you'd never run a nonprofit before. How'd you learn the whole process?
Yeah, it was a lot of trial and error, man. I remember doing our first board meetings at Starbucks. Had no idea what the heck I was doing, but I surrounded myself with, and this is just like anybody who's an entrepreneur or who's done anything for themselves. Like, you got to surround yourselves with really good people. I know what I'm good at. I know my skills and my strengths, but I also know the ones that I'm not good at. So you surround yourself with some amazing people, and I give so many people credit over the past 17 years. Just giving me the opportunity to really help as many people as I can, because they were able to fill in those spots that I wasn't very good at.
So a lot of it then is self-awareness and self-knowledge, knowing what you are good and not good at, to then be able to have someone complete that.
Yeah, I think you might have to have a little bit of an ego to do something, but at the same time, I'm not a very ego guy. I am the first one to admit what I suck at, and I think that's a good trait to have, because you know what, I've been able to accomplish so much just because I'm very willing to ask anybody for help.
I know me personally, before my car accident, I was very independent. I hated asking help for stuff. I was always, I can do everything, anytime, anywhere. And one of the things I had to learn after being in a wheelchair was to be able to ask for help and to be cool with it. And did you go through that at all? And has that helped in your professional life?
What do you mean go through that?
Like process? The process of like having to be okay with asking for help when before you were like completely independent.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when I first started having, probably actually when I was in my chair, I mean, I still want to do everything myself. I mean, I definitely want to maintain that independence, and I don't want people to feel sorry for me or feel like they need to do something for me. I still want to, show people that regardless if you see a guy in a chair, I'm still out there doing as much as I can, because I try to make everybody feel as guilty as hell, especially in my gym. You're not going to tell the guy in the wheelchair you can't do something, because I'm going to make you feel really stupid. So I think that it's good to have that confidence and that ability to try to get out there and do as much as you can. But I've now come to the point where I'm just like, you know what? If I need the help, my wife, she can attest, she manhandles me all the time. If she sees me having a hard time, she'll just grab me by the waistband and just like freaking throw my ass up.
That's funny. What was it like meeting your wife? How did you guys meet?
So I was contracted when I first started Core Fitness to go into a company called Aero International, and that's where I met her. She's a biomedical engineer, so we just became really good friends, and didn't realize that I had a crush on her and she had a crush on me, and then we finally figured out that that's what it was. So she definitely saw all the things. I mean, I was walking with canes at the time and using a chair for longer distances, so she knew all those things, and it wasn't anything that stopped her. I mean, I'm the luckiest guy in the world because I have the most amazing wife, and she helps me with everything. And just I don't know, just it's something I want to make sure that everybody who's out there with challenges, there's somebody out there. Everybody can get out there and just be happy with somebody. So I want to tell people, don't lose hope.
That's good. People need to hear that.
Yeah, right on.
I know you did a TED Talk. Tell me about the story of how you got invited to do that and what that was like, and what did it open doors for you after that?
So I went to a branch campus at Penn State Berks, here right in my town. And at the time they had a veterans group that was out there, and they had bought the licensing for doing a TED Talk, which I thought was a great initiative that they put together. And they invited me to be one of the speakers for their first TED Talk. So, which I was very honored to do. I was excited. I was a little bit younger. I really wish I could do it again, because I would definitely take it a little bit more serious. But I think it was a great opportunity, and I was surrounded by so many great speakers that were on that panel. And then I'm not sure about opening doors. I mean, I think it's simply just again, got my word out there, and people knew who I was and what I did. And there's definitely been a lot of friends of mine who are teachers or medical, who show their patients or show their students my talk, just to hopefully continue that inspiration to so many people.
That's cool. Yeah. How did you start getting into public speaking? Did that come before the TED Talk, or?
Yeah, I mean, I've been invited, a lot of times, like when I started just getting out there and speaking to schools, and I try to get out there and talk to as many able-bodied people as possible. Again, I didn't have a lesson on how to be disabled, so now when I go out and talk, I really just want to make sure I put things into perspective for people, to make sure that they appreciate it. If I could go back and punch Chris Kaag in the face when I was 19 years old and, just lazy and didn't feel like going for a walk or getting out running, I would really punch myself in the face and say, hey, dumbass, you're going to be in a chair in 5 years. So why don't you get out there and do what you can? So I want to make sure that kids, they appreciate all the things that and adults, when I go out and speak, I make everybody stand up and, jump around and feel their legs, and, you can do that easy. So make sure you appreciate the fact that you can still do that. And it may seem kind of stupid, may seem kind of simple, but you know what? Just like you can attest to, the simple things of being able to go for a walk, or, just to bend down and tie your shoes, or put your shoes on without having to, make a big problem. Those are the little things that you would miss if you didn't have your legs. So, appreciate them while they're there.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely never expected to be in a chair, and I definitely could go punch the Brandon that would get lazy and wouldn't want to run laps, because he just wanted to play soccer and not actually train. So I get that part. Tell me more about your day-to-day life nowadays. What do you do? More gym stuff, more foundation stuff? Are there more projects in the works?
I'm actually, we have a 13,000 square foot facility now. So during the shutdown, it's been a great opportunity for us to expand some of the things we're doing, and I'm able to step back a little bit from core fitness, because I now have a little bit more time to be able to concentrate on working on my business instead of in my business all the time. So it's been a great opportunity for me to pull in some partners and some other people that are definitely taking some load off of me. So I'm very, very excited about my team that I've assembled. But then just trying to do as much as I can. I really I think I have some ADHD. I really don't like to sit around and do nothing. So I'm constantly thinking about how we can expand and think about different ideas. One of the things we're doing right now, which is something that unfortunately with COVID, since we had our bash is one of our biggest events that we do in March, and we were going to do a big year for our new program called Operation Lead from the Front, where I'm taking veterans now and I'm teaming them up with all the adaptive kids that I deal with. Because again, my life has been saved because I have so many people who are depending on me. So there's veterans out there that may have some PTSD or may have some trouble getting back into civilian life or anything, any challenges. I want to connect them with these kids, because if you get in front of one of these kids, you will not leave that hour without a smile on your face. So our first pairing, it was another Marine. He unfortunately has been battling with PTSD for probably about 4 or 5 years. I connected him with a young man named Robert, and Robert has cerebral palsy. He walks with a walker and just felt very ostracized when he tried to go to a gym. I mean, he's, I think, 17 years old, a little bit older, but he, tried to go to a gym, wanted to work out, but everybody there didn't pay attention to him. They never, gave him the opportunity. Like that's different about my place. I see somebody with a challenge, I get so excited to be able to show them that, you know what, you can do anything. We're going to show you how we can improvise and how we can adapt your workouts to make sure that you can be as active as possible. So now I teamed Alan, who's the Marine, I teamed him up with Robert. And now I said, Alan, it's your responsibility to train Robert. Get it done. And just left him alone. And that first hour that they spent together, it was like an immediate match. It was so cool to see them both working each other out. So Alan, who's the Marine, he was seeing that he was helping to lead this young kid through his workout. And then this young kid, he was being trained by a Marine. So now he could, push him and encourage him to, do 5 more push-ups or do something. So it's a really cool opportunity. When we were done, Alan, he texted me and said, that kid just saved my life. So it's an amazing opportunity to see a win-win on both sides. So that's what we're trying to do now is we're trying to team up for 2020. Unfortunately, with all the things we've had going on, we wanted to try to get another 50 veterans teamed up with our kids. So again, you can see a lot of positive coming out of that.
How can people get involved with that program if they're veterans or want to help out with donations?
Yeah. So, right now, just go to our website and there's a link on there for Operation Lead from the Front. And again, right now with all the things that are going on, I would love to talk to anybody because you know what, if there's somebody in Arizona that, is nowhere near me, I could really, get them on a call and just start talking to them about how they could help. If they could, identify a group in their area that may have, kids with different challenges. I would love to be able to show them how we can connect them and get them, doing something. So I have a lot of ideas. I have a lot of, things that I've been, very fortunate to accomplish. And I would love to show anybody anywhere the opportunities that, exist in their area.
Cool. And what if you're a kid wanting a bike? How would
so right now we're in Pennsylvania, so we help the Mid-Atlantic region. We're really starting to kind of expand our reach a little bit. So I help all the kids. I'm trying to expand, with the kids that have my condition, because the kids that have my condition, or it's called ALD, it's a little bit more severe than what I have, and some have a really tough road ahead of them. So I want to try to give them the opportunity. So we're now expanding across the country. If there's anybody who has ALD, I'm willing to help them out. So, all you got to do is just go to our website. You can put in a grant request, and we can identify what piece of equipment would work the best for you. And, everybody has different challenges. So we just have to identify what works the best for you so that we can get you something that's going to be the most fulfilling.
Say that website again for the people in the back that might not have heard it.
It's the I Am Able Foundation. So it's the letter I, the letter M, Able Foundation.org.
Beautiful. Let's talk more about your mindset of, what's helped you overcome these challenges. Do you have mentors that have inspired you besides the drill sergeant, that you still have nowadays? Where do you get your inspiration from?
I tell you what, I get. Yeah, that's a tough question. I mean, so my drill instructor, Sergeant Hart, I'm still friends with him. Actually, I'm very good friends with him now. He just actually was promoted to colonel, which is something that, my chest was, sticking out because I was very proud that he's still a Marine and he's still out there, motivating and inspiring, Marines that are out there protecting us right now. So I still reflect on him a lot. And also, I think the biggest inspiration I get is just the people who I, work with. Again, if you're having a bad day and you come out, so the program is called I Am Fit. So we have I Am Fit classes on a Thursday night or a Tuesday night. And this is back in the day when we were able to be around each other. We would get anywhere between, 30 and 40 kids that would come out, and they had all kinds of different, challenges, but, they would come in, we'd have a welcome wag, like a line where all my people that were in the able-bodied class beforehand, we'd be giving them high fives and just welcome them in. And these kids were smiling the entire time. And then during the class, it's like, they're just beaming because they're out there doing as much as they can. They're physical. And then we finish with a dance party. So it's a really fun atmosphere. And again, I don't want to be a disabled place. I want to be a place that just redefines to everybody what's possible. So when everybody's out there, you're smiling the entire time. And again, if you're having a bad day, all my volunteers will leave there with a smile. So it's so cool because we get military, we get police, we get people who support I Am Able. They all come out to make those nights as successful as possible.
Awesome. Tell me about your leadership. Like, how have you helped within your organization build leaders and help them grow?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, again, I want to give as much credit as I can to my team. I want to make sure that I lead. I get out there and I do the things. I will do anything. Obviously, I've been doing everything since I started. So I'm not afraid to get my hands dirty and get out there and do those things. And I want to set that example and lead from the front. Make sure that everybody sees that I'm out there doing the things that I need to do. And I'm very proud of the reputation that I've established over the course of the past 15 years. So I really will do everything in my power to not tarnish that that reputation.
It's a legacy you're leaving.
Yeah. I really think, and this is also too, again, I want to be a positive example. So again, there's people I meet all the time that are in rehab. They're they were in a traumatic accident. They're, they don't know what's ahead of them. And I think sometimes I have, overwhelmed some people because I come down to the hospital and I pull up my laptop, show them all the pictures and all the videos and all the cool things that we're doing and just showing them possibilities. But I let them know that, whenever you're ready, because, each one of us, accepts our challenges in different times. I accepted mine very quick, but there's other people who, have a hard time. And I just tell them, listen, I want to be a resource. So whenever you're ready, I'm here. And come back and see me anytime. And it's been great. Like actually I had a young guy, Eric, he just came back finally after being in the shadows for probably about 3 years. And, he came out and jumped on a hand cycle and getting back into the riding groove. So I'm so excited to be able to give those opportunities to people and just to motivate them to get out there and do the best they can. And I want to be here for them to support them in any way I can.
How big are your riding groups?
So we're actually in the process. Before COVID, we were starting this group called Rally Point. So we have able-bodied riders that we're going to be able to get people out on the trails, because if you're like myself, when I get out on my mountain hand cycle, being in the woods, I can't do that by myself, because if I roll or something, I need people to help me out. So they're going to have all kinds of regular able-bodied riders that are going out with our people. So the groups are getting bigger, and we have a local group called Berks Area Mountain Bike Association. There's just a bunch of mountain bikers that are out there. They want to do as much as they can to be able to help get people introduced to the sport of mountain biking, regardless if it's adaptive or not.
Cool. Sounds like you have a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah, and that's why I try to look at the positive on everything, but I think this whole shutdown has been a good thing, because I've actually been able to take a step back. I'm not running around with my head cut off as much, so it's given me the opportunity to really concentrate on accomplishing the things that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I'm just proud that I've created these organizations that really help people out as much as possible to redefine what's possible for them.
Have you set goals for the next 10 years? What do you want to be doing in the next?
Yeah, I want to provide a community center. I want to create a bigger building so that I can have a place that's like a mecca for people to come in from all over the place, to be able to get the able-bodied people and adaptive community. Again, I want to make sure that everybody sees that just because you see a guy in a chair does not mean I'm any different. There's people out there who not in shape or just lazy, and I think they're more disabled than I am. So I want to make sure that people really know that they can get out there and they can be around all abilities. And I just want to continue to show all the things that people are able to do regardless of their abilities.
Awesome. Love it. Great. The world is a better place for having you in it. That's for sure.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You're definitely making a huge difference. I can tell. You're definitely going to change a lot more lives. I definitely want to stay in touch with you and, continue to build this friendship and you can mentor me and help me get some speaking gigs out there,
Right on.
and I can help you with whatever I can. So.
It's been a pleasure, Brandon. Meeting you and hearing your story. And I want to do as much as I can. If you're ever here on the East Coast, let me know, because I definitely will take you out and show you all kinds of cool stuff that we can do.
Cool. I can't wait.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you so much for being on. It's been a pleasure, and hope to talk to you soon.
Thanks very much, Brandon. Look forward to talking to you soon.
All right, Chris.
Take care, bud.
And